This week on Whisky and Things, I talk to rock band Rews over some delicious Irish coffees.
We sample Bulleit Bourbon and we hear from the Whisky God to hear his expert tasting notes.
Remember, you can keep up to date by following us on all our social media platforms at Whisky and Things Podcast on Instagram, at Whisky and Things on Facebook and Twitter.
That's whiskey without an E.
Without any talent, mate.
You're listening to the Whisky and Things Podcast with Dave Giles and Nick Kent.
So welcome to episode 2. I'm Dave Giles.
I'm Nick Kent.
And this week we come to you from different parts of the country, which may be the way this will always now happen, or different parts of the world if we ever get to travel again, which would be lovely. But thank you to everyone who tuned in to episode 1. We are back. We recorded episode 1 all the way back in November.
Mate,
when did you do those interviews?
I did those in October.
Crazy.
When I could actually get to New Zealand, you know?
And we took our time over that episode because we were trying to figure out the best way of doing this podcast. But now we are here. We're now in the weekly format. We are recording on Thursday and this will be up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we've got to get this right, Nick.
Yeah.
Pressure's on.
No pressure.
Pressure is on. So as Nick mentioned in our intro, you know where to find us on social media. And thank you for all your comments and retweets and anyone who's pressed share. Don't forget, wherever you listen to our podcast, there is probably an option to press follow or subscribe or to leave a review. Please, if you'd be so kind as to do that, that would be wonderful and really helps us out. Also, because it's been so long since we recorded that first episode, what we didn't mention last week is we do have a website, www.whiskyandthings.com, which will have the episodes, all the past episodes on there, where you can listen, a little bit more about us, and a merch store where you can get the first run of t-shirts and hoodies which we've put up, and we'll be putting some more things up as and when we're able to. We've also set up a Patreon account, which is www.patreon.com/Whisky and Things. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a platform which enables an extra connection between creator and listener. And we would really hope that you might like to get involved with that. There's going to be a load of exclusive things that go on there, both merchandise and ways you can get involved with the show. So please check that out, and maybe you can be a part of that. Of course, the show will always go on, as always, with or without that.
True that, Dave. True that.
So, we've got a few things lined up for this week.
We have.
Shall we start?
Can I jump in, Dave? I just need to... I need to make a little retraction from last week. It's a bit serious. Yeah, bit of a retraction. Last week I referred to you as a singer-songwriter Lothario.
I still don't know what Lothario means.
Well, I have. I've looked it up, and it's a man who behaves selfishly and irresponsibly in his sexual relationships with women. And I feel like I owe you a little bit of an apology. Although I did refer to you as a singer-songwriter Lothario, so maybe I was saying that you behave selfishly and irresponsibly in your singer-songwriting, which, again, we know isn't true either. So I'm going to retract that.
Well, I appreciate that. I still think you're a bass player extraordinaire, and I know but I know what extraordinaire means.
Yeah, that was an easy one. I went a bit overboard, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an apology there, mate.
Oh, I appreciate Nicholas Kent.
Yeah. And another thing I learned last week is I say the word basically far too much.
You do. You do. So
I'm actually looking for alternatives. I come up in a nutshell is another one I've thought of. But if anyone would like to leave any comments in the Instagram of, or any of our social media platforms, any alternatives to the word basically, that'd be much appreciated.
We've discovered that Nick says this so much, I have changed his name on my phone to Lee Kent. Which makes me laugh when it comes up, but then when I'm trying to text you, I type in Nick, I'm like, where is he? And then I have to remember, he's down as Lee.
Wow.
The joke has backfired on me, really, but never mind.
How are you going to find me in an emergency?
Exactly. How will I find you? So this week's whiskey, should we crack on?
Why not, Dave? Let's do it.
Whiskey bots, roll out.
All right, so last week we did a Scotch, In November we did a Scotch. And now this week we are doing Bulleit Bourbon, which is a Kentucky whiskey. And Bulleit's one of my favourites. I like bourbons. I prefer a bourbon to a Scotch. Now, a bourbon tends to be an American whiskey. Obviously, it's from Kentucky. I'm not sure if bourbons are exclusive to America. Do you know that?
I think they are.
Well, there we go. So I love the bottle and the packaging. They put the label on slightly at an angle. It's an orange label.
Mine too. I was liking that because for me it looks like some dudes put it on rather than a machine.
Yeah. It feels more small batch, doesn't it? Even though it's actually quite
there's probably a machine set to put it at an angle.
And now I've got some facts about Bulleit.
Oh, interesting.
So it was set up by a guy called Jim Bulleit in the 90s. Now he claims that it's an old family recipe,
right? Because that's funny because I've got something different from my research, so I want to hear what you've got.
Interesting. So he said that it was an old family recipe. So that's how he came up with it.
Okay.
But he set it up in order to sell bourbon to the Japanese market in the 90s. And it was originally he was importing different types of whiskey to create his. But he claims it was a family recipe.
So it's a blend.
And there's no proof either way as to whether it is a family recipe or not. It started as a blend for sure. I'm not sure. That probably is still the same.
Well, I've got that. It was Thomas E. Bulleit Jr. came up with it in 1987.
What did I say?
You said
did I say?
You said 90s, I think it was.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is Tom Bulleit. I don't know what name I said before. I meant to say Tom.
Oh,
Excellent.
right. No, you said something else, unless I've got that completely fucking wrong.
Set up by a guy called Jim Bulleit. No. Okay. It was definitely Tom Bulleit, but that's what I meant to say. But yeah, my research says 1995 he set up the company.
Well, maybe he set up the company after he came up with his recipe.
Maybe. But apparently his claim is it's a generations old. And I don't know if like 95 to 1980s would be classed as generations old. Anyway, so we both poured ourselves a nice glass. We're using our tulip-shaped Glencairn glasses.
Well, funny you should mention that, Dave, actually, because I've actually poured myself 2 glasses, right? I've poured one in the Glencairn for your sniffing and your actual tasting, but the way I like to enjoy bourbon is in a tumbler with some ice.
Yeah.
For me, it's sitting at the bar, tumbler ice. It's more refreshing. That's pretty much what I like to drink when I go out, actually.
Fair enough. I mean, to me, a bourbon is a lot easier to drink than a Scotch.
Yeah.
It's just it's sweeter.
It is sweet, yeah.
Whereas a lot of Scotches, you do need to water down a little bit to really bring out the flavours. I don't feel like you need to do that with a bourbon as much.
Yeah.
For those of you who are, don't know much about whiskey, think of Jack Daniels, and that's the kind of thing. Although Jack Daniels is a really bad example in the sense that it likes to think it's a bourbon, but it's not.
Yeah, they call themselves a Tennessee whiskey because they have the extra process of filtering it through charcoal. But it's very different tasting, actually, Jack Daniels to any other bourbons, I think.
Of course.
I mean, this is quite sweet, and as you say.
So obviously a lot of people will drink a bourbon with a cola, which I don't particularly like doing, which is why I don't like Jack Daniels as well, because I don't want to have Jack and Coke, and I don't like Jack Daniels straight. But that's another thing. We'll talk about Jack Daniels another time, I'm sure. But yeah, if you like Jack Daniels and you want to explore more whiskies, and because someone did say that to me online, I've only really it was Jodie Harper said, I've just started drinking whiskey and I drink Jack Daniels and I've tried Gentleman Jack and I like it. Where do you recommend going next? And I feel like Bulleit or a bourbon would be an obvious place to go next from that.
Buffalo Trace, that's nice too.
Another good one as well. But Bulleit is my favourite of the bourbons, and I like drinking it as an old-fashioned, which is a certain type of cocktail, and we will go more into that another time.
We will. I'm getting a lot of sweetness. I'm trying to work on my nasal technique and picking out, tastes, etc., and smells. And for me, I had a couple of wee drams before we started recording, actually, and I'm getting the maple syrup vibe out of it. That's what I'm getting through the nose of this one, and some orangey tones.
Definitely, I get the citrus and I get that maple syrup for sure. It's very syrupy. You're right. That definitely has syrup. I just really like it, but I think I sometimes wonder if I pick up the oranges because I've had it so much as an old fashioned, of which orange zest is a key ingredient. So I'm not sure whether it's just like an implied flavour in my brain now.
Again, I've written down on my notes Christmassy. I don't know whether that's because it smells of Christmas,
so
but
true.
maybe I just have it at Christmas.
Did you ever, when you were at school, Nick, did you ever do the experiment with cloves and an orange? It was like, so it's what they used to do in Tudor times, what rich people used to do, is get an orange and put cloves in it, and the rich people would carry that round to mask the smell of the poor people. And that, it's a flavour or a smell that we still use at Christmas quite a lot. Yeah. And you are so right. It's so maybe I can smell cloves in there as well. I think I can.
Maybe.
But, I really enjoy this whiskey.
No, it's beautiful. Again.
I look forward to seeing what the Whisky God's got to say later.
No one cares about the things.
I like things. Things. Dave, what things have you been up to this week?
It's been hard, isn't it? Obviously...
it has, mate. Lockdown.
Crazy times. But I've been trying to keep busy. I'm trying to do things that I've been putting off for months. So I've been video editing.
Like showering.
Yeah, exactly. I've been video editing my album launch show, which is way back now in the end of 2018. That's how far, I've been putting things off for that long.
Wow. So
I've been doing that. I'm working on some new songs, which fortunately you and I got to record before the lockdown, which was a whole lot of fun. I mean, and I just want to talk about a person called Sian Monaghan, who's a drummer that you and I worked with on these new songs.
Yeah, absolute joy to play with.
Oh my God, she was incredible. And I met her at Americana Fest this year, and she won Best Instrumentalist of the Year, or Instrumentalist of the Year, at the UK Americana Awards, which is so somehow I managed to talk her into recording some songs with me. You got to play bass with her, and just what an incredible person this is, an incredible drummer, so laid back, so chilled out, and I really hope we get to work with her more often, to be honest. We should try and get...
She was fantastic.
We should try and get her on the pod.
We should get her on the pod, mate. She was so easy to work with. Made me raise my game as a bass player, I know that much.
And she's she's playing with some really interesting people as well. So it was nice to broaden our musical family, exactly, and introduce someone new who's clearly better than both of us, but is adding so much to what we can do, which is great.
That track came out really nice as well. You've sent me a couple of little edits of that. I'm enjoying it.
Pretty pleased.
Oh, nearly spilt my whiskey, mate. That nearly went all over my keyboard. You have no idea. Oh, I'm glad I'm filming this. Perils of being on lockdown.
The perils of making whiskey-based podcasts.
Look what I'm doing here.
Oh, the perils of making a whiskey-based podcast.
At home.
The unexpected consequences of...
Yeah. Work at home if you can.
Yes. Have you done a risk assessment for that, Nick?
Mate, my whole life is a risk assessment.
Anyway, what have you been up to?
Right, a couple of weeks ago, I was lucky enough to go see the band Rews, who were in town. Here in Manchester, they played Night People a couple of weeks back.
Oh, yeah.
When I shot the show, and it was really kind of them. They agreed to come and talk to me the next day and have a little chat for the podcast.
Nick.
Dave.
This isn't another one of those shoddy interviews, is it?
Mate, I've had 5 months to prepare for this, okay, since the last one.
All right.
Do you think
I have faith.
After the tragedy of last time, I haven't done some research?
I have faith in you, Nick. I have faith. That's amazing. not actually listened to them before or seen them live.
Missing out,
but I
mate.
am hearing so many good things about them. Did they not support the darkness? Have I got that right?
They did, yeah, and I asked them about that in the interview, actually.
Oh, of course. I'll hold back on that one.
Hold back, mate.
You've known them a while now, right? But I keep seeing them pop up, and you're the first person I know who used to talk about them. So you're clearly a Rews hipster. It's spelled REWS. That's right, isn't it?
That's
For
correct.
anyone who wants to check them out.
That's right.
Okay. So how did you meet them?
I originally met them.
Hear of them.
I originally met them a few years ago because we did a photo shoot together. They had some cool ideas. We took some cool photos back then, and then recently we did another photo shoot where we took some shots, which ended up as their a single artwork, cover.
Oh, nice!
And
cool.
also for their tour poster as well.
Fancy! Look at you.
Fancy indeed. I should say,
Making it big time.
Rews are led by lead singer Shauna Tohill. She plays guitar, sometimes piano as well, which is a lot of fun.
She sounds Irish. Is that an Irish name?
She is Irish. We'll get to that later as well, Dave.
Okay, right. So we've got the Irish person.
Yeah. And on bass, we have Ellie Lucas and Scott Hislop on drums as well.
Nice. So they're going out as a trio.
Yep, power trio, mate.
So we've now got a little interview with them, right? So I'm guessing there's 3 voices, 2 girls, and the way we distinguish them is Ellie also Irish, or is she
No,
English?
she's not. No, Ellie's just hungover. Shauna's the Irish one, and Scott is Scott. So have a little listen to this. Thank you for doing this, guys.
Thanks for having us. I point out at this point, I don't drink whiskey.
Oh yeah.
Nah.
I rarely drink whiskey,
of it as,
but
You rarely drink it?
not very often.
No. What whiskies have you tried?
Nothing classy.
Nothing classy.
There's always just like a Wetherspoons whiskey sort of situation for me, in general, or like the house whiskey with a mixer.
One house whiskey,
Wells.
please.
Have a Wells.
Yeah, I'm probably not the
Yeah, if you've had
most
a Bell,
astute
it might be a
person.
Bell's or something, or they like Hague in there.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, depending on which one you have.
But they'd always say, I would say sometimes Jim Beam, and they were like, "Do you want the normal one or Jim Beam Black?"
Yeah.
I don't know the difference, but Jim Beam Black sounded cooler. I was like, yeah, Jim Beam Black, please. It's got to be Jim Beam Black.
I would accept nothing less.
Yeah, I haven't got black. Oh. Is Pepsi all right? That's okay. But the Jim Beam got to be
No,
black.
mate, Pepsi's never all right.
Exactly.
It's never, is
Pepsi,
it?
not a sponsor.
Yes, last time I saw you was for a photo shoot. We ended up doing some like really weird shit.
Leaping around.
Yeah, there's a lot of leaping. And one of those images ended up on your single Bird Song.
Yes, it did, yes.
You falling.
Yeah, that's it.
We did some freaky stuff that day. I don't know how much you want to talk about in case you end up using them.
I think I
Yeah.
split some trousers that day.
You split trousers a lot though, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there was a lot. Yeah, we were jumping around. you know.
Jumping around. We could probably mention, the tights on the head thing.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that idea got thrown out the window.
Yeah.
That's the thing I
think
was
so.
talking about.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
We all
It was
ended up-
fun to do.
Although it might, even if it does come out, it's, it's fine if people are aware that we did put tights on our head at one point.
Yeah.
Even
done
if it
it
didn't
since.
come out. Yeah.
So for the listeners, we basically everyone put tights on their heads and we drew faces on them, kind of like bank robber, Slipknot kind of vibes going on.
It's very strange, isn't it?
It was fun.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it was.
I kept
some of
mine
them-
for a while.
Did you? Yeah. I think I still have
They're
a
on
roll.
board, everyone.
You
Yeah.
I
video
had-
called someone, didn't you? With you and Ash.
I
sent
kept
a
mine for a
video.
while and had it around the football near the entrance to my door for
Yes.
a while. People would come in and be like, "What is that?"
Like a Wilson vibe.
Yeah, exactly that.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was quite
Because after that,
interesting.
you went on to the darkness, right?
Yeah.
We did, yes. Yeah.
Tell me.
It was
Tell me.
amazing.
Yeah.
The guys were very welcoming and lovely. And yeah, I don't know. We had a really good time.
Yep.
We got to travel on the catering bus with the caterers.
Oh,
They
cool.
fed us well. And we got to experience our first ever tour bus
Is that UK?
time. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Ireland.
Yes, in Ireland, yes.
Include
I
that.
could forget.
Yes. How was that? Kind of hometown.
It's good to
That
go to
Dublin?
Belfast.
That was the first time I'd ever been to
Belf-
Ireland.
Yeah.
It was great.
We were in Dublin, Belfast and Cork. So so
cool.
it was a nice rounded kind of experience for
Experience.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Did the darkness bring up? Do you know the real meaning of the tune "Growing on Me"?
Oh yeah.
You do.
Horrible, isn't it? They didn't bring it up, and I didn't bring it up with
Someone asked
them.
it on one
Is
of
that
the
actually real?
talks.
Well, I brought the lyrics up earlier on, so it reminded me of it. And yeah, it sounds pretty. So I know we're eating here, but I'm pretty sure it's about genital warts or crabs or something.
The lyrics are so...
I can't get rid of you. I don't know what to do. I don't even know who is growing on who.
Oh my gosh.
Because everywhere I go, you're there.
I'm sure a
I
video.
can't get you out of my hair. Now that just throws a
Can't
massive...
get you out of my hair.
Yeah, that just takes it to an all-time low of wrong, doesn't it, really?
It does, actually. Although I'm quite
I've
curious.
only got myself to blame, etc.
Isn't that I'm being punished for all my sins?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah. I want to touch you, but afraid of the consequences.
You see?
I
Yeah,
wanna touch your
someone's been...
It's like I've only got myself to blame.
I'm sure one of the VIP people who got to do question and answers on the Darkness tour asked them about that, and I think he just kind of swiped around it, didn't talk about it.
I'm sure they've been asked a bunch.
I think my brother...
Gosh, that's hilarious.
My brother and his wife, that was like a special song for them.
Yeah,
back
that's
in the
the
day,
thing.
like when they got together, that Darkness album was huge, and they used to listen to it in the car and like long journeys.
They
and,
fell in love to a genital wart song.
And I told him what it was about. He's like, no.
No.
The amazing thing is that you can literally apply those lyrics to anything really that you wanted. Like, you know, you could do it in a really positive way. like, you know, like love growing on you, or
Noel Gallagher calls
words if you want.
Noel Gallagher calls that the universal truth.
Ah.
Yeah. Songs that are so vague they can, you know, apply to anything and anyone. You just take your own little spin off it.
Yeah, that's class.
Justin does write some good lyrics, though.
He does, yeah.
Like, is it just me, or am I on my own again? It's just, I thought it's very funny.
Yeah.
So it's very funny. Is it just me? I'm on alone.
Scott was rocking backwards and forwards while he was saying that.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm probably a bit of a tear in my eye, actually.
It wasn't supposed to be emotional. I thought it was funny.
All right.
Now, Shauna, you told me you like Bushmills.
Oh, dear.
I went on 2 trips to find some Bushmills this morning. No, wasn't happening.
Didn't happen.
They've cleaned it out for some reason.
I wonder what it...
People are afraid of being locked in without their Irish.
Sure, panic bought it all.
Do you know, I haven't bought Bushmills in a while, but it is nice as a hot toddy. I think I've said that a few times. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
So good. Makes you feel alive. Especially, you know, when your voice is going.
How's
Get
your
the whiskey
voice?
in you. It feels a bit husky today. I feel like I sound like a man. In fact, actually, one person did say to me one time when they heard me speak, they're like, "Whoa, your voice is very low for a girl." I was like, "Thanks."
Cheers, pal.
Yours is very low for a man as well. Anyway.
Is there a compliment in there?
No, I don't know. Well, he looked really shocked, genuinely. His
Right.
mouth was very wide with gasping at how low it was. Anyway, doesn't matter. I didn't really know how to respond, really, to be honest. But it is quite low, you know, after a night of gigging.
So last night you were playing some new tunes. Monsters has just come out, right?
Yes.
Yes. Cool video.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad you like it.
Where was that shot? It was in someone's flat? Or?
Yes, it was a friend's house, yeah. It was supposed to be in a different, like, Airbnb sort of space, but the location pulled out the day before.
Right.
So we were very limited on time to know where we were going to get something sorted, but thankfully a friend let us use her space.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
That's cool.
It's a tune.
It was-
That's the thing. Every time I come back to your shows now, like, there's more and more tunes I remember and, you know, I love.
Oh.
Catchy as hell.
Oh,
I kept thinking it was the last song last night. It's a thing. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is the one. Oh no, then there's another one afterwards. Oh, no, this is the one. Okay, yeah. It's one. They're ending on the big one. No, this is another big one after that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do it.
You can hear the second part of that interview with Rews later on in the show, where we experiment with some Irish coffee recipes.
Fantastic. So I'm actually now more intrigued by Rews. I'm definitely going to be checking them
They're
out.
a great bunch. They sound like a great bunch, don't they?
Yeah. Few things. Like you and I could talk forever about lyrical interpretations.
We can.
I mean, there are so many great examples, and if anyone listening would like to
how you doing?
Exactly. But if anyone would like to send us in their favourite interpretations of lyrics, which may not be what it's supposed to be, but just something you've picked up on in a song, which perhaps is completely different to how most people hear the song. There's got to be some great examples of that, hasn't there?
There have, yeah. None spring to mind, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, there is a classic one about More Than Words by Extreme, but again, we won't go into that. But it's a beautiful love song, which apparently is about something very different. But something when I was listening to that, I was thinking, oh man, I've never been on a tour bus.
Really?
I've never toured. I've
That's
never
nothing,
toured on
yeah.
a tour bus.
You've always done the DIY, mate.
But the most I've done is a Sprinter van. Yeah, exactly, a big Mercedes Sprinter van, which has been lovely, and I've enjoyed that. But you've got some tour bus experiences, haven't you?
A little bit, yeah, here and there.
Like, what's the craziest or worst thing you've had? Did you ever have to drive a tour van?
I didn't have to drive the tour vans. Yeah, I mean RVs, etc. You know,
You've toured in an RV as well.
Yes, yeah, we hired an RV when I was touring with Tat in 2009. Tell a lie, 2008.
Was this in America?
This was around America, yeah. We hired an RV. We told them we were going to do 5,000 miles, ended up racking 22,000 miles up on this thing and absolutely ruining the inside.
Oh my God.
And I did crash it into the wall of a tunnel, which is why the next year we got a tour bus with a driver and bunks in the back and all that kind of stuff.
Fancy.
Because it got too dangerous, mate. I nearly killed everyone.
Talking of nearly killing everyone, shall we talk to the Whisky God?
Great segue.
Oh, I try. I am interested in hearing what he has to say about this. The reason is because obviously he's American, and you know, bourbon is an American drink.
Is he actually American though, or is he just a being of every single nationality? Is he just
has an American accent?
Well, maybe he's just putting it on to sound cool.
Okay, well, fair enough. I've yet to figure out how we're going to work him in when we're both in separate rooms. I mean, last week he came through my ceiling, but how are we both going to see him? Do we have to beckon him through our laptop speakers, or
the Whisky God knows, and the Whisky God is in many places.
The Whisky God does have a good nose. You're right. So,
are you? What's happening up there? Are you getting this?
Have you got that sound in your ears?
Wait, mate, I can see it. Mate, I've just got a new flat. He's ruining my ceiling. There's dripping everywhere.
Oh, I'm wet.
Lord.
I am so wet right now.
Hello, boys. How you got a second episode, I'll never understand.
Well, considering we launched the same day as Disney Plus, I'm with you.
That's a really good point. Anyway, what have you got to say about Bulleit Bourbon?
Bulleit Bourbon. Tasting notes. On the nose. Lively. Orange zest. Vanilla. Tobacco. And almost a hint of solvent. Maybe even rubbing alcohol. Rub that one out, buddy. On the palate. Smooth mouthfeel with holiday spices. Cinnamon even. Pipe tobacco. Expect a smooth finish.
Solventy. I don't get that. Mate.
Well, it's a 45% one, this. So it's a bit more than your base level 40.
Maybe that's what it is.
But still
it's
not
more,
very strong.
More spirity, maybe. Maybe that's...
Possibly. But I noticed with this one, it made my whole mouth numb. You know, it does linger. It's got a very long finish to it. But I agree, as he went on about orange zest, which is maybe what we were talking about earlier on.
We certainly did.
And also what we were just talking about was he mentioned holiday spices. Now, when I first heard him say this, I thought, what? You're talking about like Ibiza? But of course, for some reason, our Whisky God is American. He's talking about Thanksgiving, Christmas, that kind of time. You talked about cinnamon. So it, again, is this thing we're talking about earlier on with the Christmassy vibes.
Yeah. And once again, it's
holiday spices.
As we talked about last week, these things are all very subjective. And if you've been drinking some Bulleit along, if you managed to get hold of some and you have your own experiences of Bulleit, please do let us know on social media or on Patreon what you think of. Because I think actually that might be a good idea. What we should do is we could have a listeners' tasting notes section somewhere.
That'd be fantastic.
So every time we do a whiskey, we could put our tasting notes, God's tasting notes, and listeners' tasting notes.
And the most imaginative, we might read out.
And
we don't know
get
yet.
a more comprehensive guide to whiskey tasting through bringing people together.
Yes. Good idea, Dave.
Thanks. I'll keep thinking, Butch.
The whiskey.
So, Nick, shall we hear more from Rews?
Yeah, why not? I've recorded it, so we might as well share it.
Yeah, I think that's how that works.
I think it is. Podcast gold. Well, as Shauna is Irish, I thought it'd be nice to make her feel at home, So we tried some different Irish coffee recipes with some different whiskies in, and to see which ones they preferred.
Are you suggesting that to feel at home for an Irish person, they have to be drunk? Racist.
Well, I couldn't get the river dance people in there, so enjoy, everyone. The Irish lady in the room wants to make us some Irish coffees. We're going to do a little test today. So we have 4 whiskies in front of us. These all have numbers on the bottom, these glasses, because we're going to do a little test to see which of the 4 we like in our Irish coffees. Such delicate hands. So I'm passing
Sure they'll
these
enjoy
up.
us doing.
The ingredients are brown sugar, coffee.
Whiskey.
Your whiskey of choice, preferably Irish whiskey, but we're going to test that today. And then some cream on top. Right, you recommended last night Bushmills.
Yeah.
Due to certain things going on at the moment, people are bulk buying toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and Bushmills, it seems.
Oh, really?
Because the shelves were clear.
Oh, my goodness.
So we've got the original Jameson.
Very nice.
Classic.
Triple distilled, mate. The Jameson Caskmate, which is the stout edition, which means it's been finished off in an old stout barrel to get the flavours in the whiskey
vibes.
from that.
Maybe chocolatey vibes in there.
It does. Chocolatey on the finish, apparently. Look at you. There we go. The Jameson Distillery is near Cork, Middleton, just down the road. I ended up going there by accident because we went out, got hammered, and then missed the ferry the next day.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Cool place, though.
You should go to the Bushmills distillery, actually.
You love that, don't you? Is that like your home whiskey?
To be honest, I think the
Do
thing
you
is...
work for them or?
You think I would, or that I did actually. But the only reason, I went and I wasn't really a massive fan of whiskey beforehand. And then I went along with my friend and we did the tour and everything. And at the end, they give you, a couple of different things to taste. Well, I guess they let you taste the whole way through.
Yeah.
But I think they taught me how to taste it properly. And I was like, oh, actually, I never really appreciated whiskey as much.
Maybe you should teach us how to taste it properly.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe after the Irish coffees.
But I thought the hot toddy was the
cream.
best.
What's this? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a great. Yeah, if you add that to your palate cleanser or just whatever.
So back to the Irish coffees. I thought to throw some curveballs and see if we can have a Scotch coffee.
Oh.
We're going for a Jura Origin 10-year Scotch. That's going to be a bit smokier, maybe.
Are you Jura about that? Sorry.
Huh?
It's called Jura. I was going to say, are you Jura about that? Sorry.
Amazing. That's why I wanted you in. Are you Jura about that? Very cool.
Oh no.
You've gone as red as your hair.
Oh God, yeah, that happens sometimes.
When you make great puns.
Sorry.
No, please, more.
Oh, dear.
I'm enjoying that. And we're going for a bourbon as well. Going to put some Buffalo Trace in there as well.
Ooh.
So,
Very nice.
so they're all kind of biscuity, shortbready, vanilla kind of vibes. So just to explain to our listeners, Shauna has poured out the coffees, but none of us know which of the whiskies are in which coffee. So we're just going to try them. I've numbered all of them, and in my pocket there's a piece of paper which will tell us which whiskies are in which glass at the end. So, Rews, any favourites?
I always like the most recent one I've had. I don't know if it's just because they're nicer, or I think that's just how it's going.
Yeah.
Although the last time you said that you liked the ones on the left, and now you like the one you're drinking.
I'm liking this number one. It's just subtle. It's just creamy.
Yeah.
There's one, so I think I know which one it is, which just is a bit too much of a kick. There's the subtle difference of, wanting to taste it and it just having a little kick.
Yeah.
Or just dumping one in your morning coffee in the morning.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the standard? Are they all 40%? Is that the whiskey standard?
That's the lowest proof it can be to be a whiskey legally.
I see.
So if it's any higher, say 46, some go to 50, 60, that pretty much means sometimes that's how it came out of the cask. So that's sometimes known as cask strength.
Okay.
That might not be the taste they're looking for, or it might be too strong. There might be too much of an alcohol kick to it and they want to bring it down, so they kind of dilute it down. But yeah, 40 is the lowest it can be to be a whiskey, which I think most of these are.
They're all 40, yeah.
They're all 40, yeah. So, verdicts, guys. Which ones do we think?
2, and is that the one you have there?
This is
I think
number one.
Yeah,
I think
2.
One's what I've got. It is creamy. Well, there's cream in it, guys, but you know what I mean. It doesn't...
That was the best one for me, I think. I mean, I
think that one.
Brace for impact.
1 and 2 are my faves, I think.
1 and 2?
Yeah.
Here those are. So I have a piece of paper in my hand with the numbers of these. Interesting. Okay.
Neither are Jameson. Is that right?
Actually, the reason I did this because I didn't want any bias from you. I didn't want you to. I didn't want it to affect your decision with going with your home team. Number 1, which we all like, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is the Jameson Caskmate Stout Edition.
Yes.
No way.
Amazing.
It's maybe because it does have that kind of chocolatey.
Yeah, yeah.
finish to it.
It seems a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
I kind
that.
of thought when you said about this, the stout edition, that it probably would be.
Yeah, we talked about it last night. Yeah, you thought it'd be like a Bailey's vibe. you said.
Yeah. Bailey's coffee's really good as well.
I love Bailey's coffee.
So nice.
What was the other ones people liked?
You like 2, didn't you?
Yeah.
You like 2?
Yeah.
That's the Buffalo Trace. Vanilla's in there and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Nice.
I think I liked 4. 4 was a good one.
4 is the regular Jameson. That surprised me.
Yeah.
The difference.
Between the stout and the...
Yeah.
Because it felt very like, woof.
Yeah.
Wizard Jura in. Did anyone like the Jura? Number 3.
I can't remember.
Who's got number 3? I need to taste number 3.
3.
It's number 3. That's the first one I had. Yeah. Whiskey podcast, everyone. That's it. Just people going.
This is how it sounds.
But yeah, I think, it's definitely a bit smokier.
I'm tasting it again like I know anything about whiskey and drink it.
I want to do a gobstopper podcast where everyone just eats giant gobstoppers. It lasts 4 hours because that's as long as it takes to do. And I was like, and pass it along.
Oh my
Do you reckon there's a market for that?
Gobstoppers and things. Is there a market for that?
It's $1 million idea.
That is $1 million idea.
It's better than this one. Why did we do whiskey? We're talking gobstoppers. It's be everyone going.
I actually think that could be entertaining. Maybe not for long, but
We'll refine that idea.
yeah. Let's brainstorm that one, Nick.
Yeah,
Let's
let's do
brainstorm. So that was really interesting. Obviously, I don't drink coffee, so I don't think I'd want to try any of those.
You're one of the most hyper people I know. How do you not drink coffee?
God, you know me. It's all about tea.
Mate, I was drinking coffee. I was drinking Irish coffee for the next 3 days because I bought a big pot of cream for that segment, which I didn't want to waste. Yeah. So I spent a bit more time. Yeah. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that.
It does, Hound, before you crack on, that interview did remind me, we really do need to do a segment on whiskey tasting things. Because although I don't drink coffee, someone did once get me some whiskey infused tea.
Oh yeah.
Which I didn't ever try, and then it went out of date. I didn't try it because I just thought that sounds horrific.
Right.
So I didn't do it. But We still got the chocolate marmalade. We still have the whiskey marmalade.
I was just about to say, I haven't forgotten about that, by the way.
No, and we still have, I've got us some 2 different types, including one which is Irish, whiskey chocolate.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
mate.
we could do a whole show or a whole thing based on maybe a week if we can't get a guest. We could do a whiskey-infused food or foods that taste good with whiskey. And if anyone out there is listening who knows any whiskey foods that we've perhaps not thought of, please let us know. Or if you use whiskey for cooking or whatever it is, let us know. Anyway.
Whiskey glaze on like a
whiskey
bit
glaze,
of meat
exactly.
or something on a ham. Is that it?
Exactly. Because obviously, like, you can get whiskey barbecue sauces and things like that. That's quite common, especially bourbons.
Yeah. Would Jack Daniels do one?
Exactly. I think Jim Beam do one as well, don't they?
Mate, they're all doing it.
Exactly. Anyway, tell me more about Rews. How can we find out more about them? What they got coming up?
Rews, sadly, their tour, because of what's going on at the moment with coronavirus, their tour did get pulled. So Sean is doing a lot of kind of live stream stuff at the moment, which it'd be nice for people to go and check out because, you know, they had this tour booked. And like a lot of musicians, it has been pulled. So it'd be great if you could support them by going and checking out some of their stuff. If you'd like to follow Rews, they are at Rews Music pretty much everywhere. Instagram, Twitter,
REWS.
REWS. And if you can find all those addresses at www.rewsmusic.com as well. Their new single Monsters is out now, which you can go download and stream.
I'm going to go and do that.
And they also have a new album coming out later in the year, so please keep your eye out for that, because I've heard some tracks and it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to... They're on my radar of bands I need to definitely check out. And as I said, that so many people...
You'd love them, mate.
So many people are talking about them. I see them all the time, and I don't know why I've not got round to doing it, so I will do. So
that's right, mate. You're a busy guy. We understand.
If Rews are listening, thank you for being a part of our 2nd episode. I mean, that could be monumental or it could be absolutely nothing. But thank you.
Let's be positive,
Let's be
mate.
positive.
But we need your help, guys, listeners. Share. Comment. Drink responsibly.
Smooth.
Thank you for tuning in. The full interview with Rews will be available on our Patreon page. Once again, that's patreon.com/Whisky and Things. And you can find loads of little bonus content stuff available on all of our social media platforms, Twitter and Facebook at Whisky and Things, and Instagram at Whisky and Things Podcast. Nick and I are also on all those platforms. If you want to find us individually, that would be lovely.
That would be lovely. And we keep an eye on them at the moment because we're not doing much else. Let's face it. Kind of stuck in. But
we are stuck in.
Remember, guys, stay in and wash your hands.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.